we're gonna start. This is Leo Smart.
Hello, everyone.
And Leo Smart has his bachelor's degree from the University of Florida Florida Memorial University. He did his bachelor's in biochemistry. And then he did his master's in curriculum and instruction with the emphasis in mathematics.
That's correct.
Yeah, from the Florida Atlantic University. So he's a Florida boy. Well, proud to say I had 2 out of 3, another Black man of Jamaican descent here to talk about his path as a high school math teacher. It is so important that I talk to you, Leo, because I believe that you are one of the foundational pillars of a career in STEM, the math teacher. Like that is, I remember my math teacher, his name is Delmas Campbell. He was my pre-cal teacher, and he was able to do in 1 year what none of my previous high school teachers in mathematics could do. He was such a great math teacher, and I believe that if it wasn't for him, I would not be where I am. I think the foundation of STEM is math. So we're going to talk to you about your path and your challenges and life as a high school math teacher. Okay, so we'll start with the first question. So when did you fall in love with your discipline? So you started off as a biochemistry major.
Right.
Yeah.
Math didn't always make sense to me.
Okay.
And I must say it was the patience of my aunt. I was more of a history side person growing up. I was interested in history. I was interested in geography. And so it was a transition from the social studies.
Okay.
So it went from history, and then it went to geography, and then it developed into science, and then eventually it went to math. So it became more progressively analytical.
Ah.
And I have to thank my aunt. She was no joke. She made sure that she's a teacher as well.
Okay.
My aunt and as well as my old sister, they were very influential in my education. I always wanted to be a teacher, but then as I got older, I realized I was good at so many things. And so I remember we were doing basically finding out careers, what we were doing for careers. And we were asked, the class, and individuals got up and, they stated what they wanted to do. This was in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, I want to be a teacher. And I got laughed at.
Yeah.
I got laughed at.
Yeah.
And so, and even my own teacher, it wasn't a math teacher or a science teacher. It was maybe a homeroom teacher. He was like, Leo, you have good grades. You can do anything you want.
Yeah, what is that supposed to mean?
So I kind of felt bad. So I'm like, okay. So so basically I wanted to become a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And I said I'm going to pursue the path of medicine, because that's what people expect of me.
Right.
And as being naive and impressionable, I want to please my parents. I want to impress people because this is the good thing to do, and this is where I got most encouragement, and I was seeking that. So I said, okay, I'm going to be a doctor.
Yeah.
So I started my path from then on my journey to become a doctor. Did my CXCs in Jamaica. Didn't get to finish doing it because there are certain life challenges that occurred. One of which was Jamaica was becoming very violent, and so basically there was a attempted robbery on my parents' house.
Wow.
Yeah, and so where my sister got shot.
Whoa.
Yeah. So my dad basically, limb up one of them, chopped them up, and I know I'm just being
real. Yeah.
So they came back and shot at the house. Mom was like, "We can't stay here."
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically how we came to the States. We packed everything up what we could and we left. Wow. And so then I was an international student, and in the process of that, still having my mind to become a teacher, because I had great teachers.
Okay.
I had great teachers. So even though I was still divided, I had great teachers. I remember Miss Green. She was phenomenal. She was my primary school teacher. I remember Mr. Brumfield. He was my math teacher. And I mean, these teachers,
have such a great impact.
Yeah, they have a relationship with you. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not about money, hours. I mean, they would stay after class and hours to make sure you get it.
Yeah.
And learning.
Weekends. I remember Mr. Campbell, my math teacher. I wanted to pass the Regents examination. It was like sequential 1, 2, 3, and I was not passing them. I surpassed 1, and I couldn't pass 2 and 3. I just wasn't prepared, in my opinion, at the lower levels. This guy came on the weekend, opened up the high school on Sunday. He didn't have to do that.
Yeah. I tell you. I remember Mr. Oshry. I mean, he would his office hours. I mean, so what happens is that teachers inspire the next generation of teachers. Yeah. So I was inspired by these people, by their passion, not only for their discipline, but also the love they have for students. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where the love for teaching coming. I mean, you can be good and know your content,
right?
But you don't know how that connection, love people and love seeing that light bulb comes on,
right? The aha, like I love it. My students, I love it when they say it loudly in the classroom, like yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. There's a high.
Yeah.
And when you just, okay.
Yeah. Love that.
I love that. And but then, like I said, we migrated here, and we went to the roughest of schools. I remember. So now there's a culture shift. I remember, most third world countries, there are a lot of priorities placed on education. Education is called your escape as well. So where I was living, Miami, Carol City, it was rough, man. It was rough. I remember driving to school, the first day of school, and there was this guy riding his bicycle, and no shirt, smoking, what have you. So, he was in the middle of the road, so he's being obnoxious. I'm like, man, this man don't just get out of the road.
Get out of the way.
Right. Pulled up to the school. On the final, this boy put on his shirt and threw away his weed and walked in the school.
He was a student. Yeah, that's real.
And I don't want to come across like some type of elitist, but we're like, whoa, what environment are we in?
Yeah.
And I'm seeing very good teachers at Miami, Carol City, at the school I attended, where I tell you, they were crying. It was so difficult. It was so challenging.
Yeah.
There was not much priority placed on education or educators. And that basically confirmed it for me that, no, this is not where I want to be. I do not want to go into education.
So you ran. You're like, I'm not doing this. Yeah, so you ran. Okay.
So
yeah.
So I got an academic scholarship. And I got several academic scholarships. But Florida Memorial University, override, they want to pay for everything. So that's where you're going. even though it was around the corner from where I lived.
Yeah.
You know, but like I said, you know, my parents, we rushed to come here. It's not like any planning, so we didn't have much. So I attended Florida Memorial. It majored in biochemistry. It wasn't easy either because then I still needed more money. My parents were off for it. I had my siblings, and I had to kind of help out with them.
Right.
So, you know, I was an athlete, so I ran track.
Okay.
So then I had an athletic scholarship as well.
Okay.
And so the extra money that I would get I would basically for me to survive and help home. But you know, I couldn't really work because I was an international student. Of course, they had
that's
20,
right.
but that wasn't really enough. You know, because I had to study and so forth.
Right. Well, hold on. We'll talk about some struggles shortly. But you majored in biochem. What I'm hearing is to run away from your calling as a teacher. And we'll talk about the importance of having Black male teachers a little later. But still, biochem was a really tough STEM field. So what did you do to discipline yourself? Can you give some tools that you learned to discipline yourself, even because biochem is serious?
Well, I will credit my sister, my older sister, but we were very competitive. So she was more like considered a jackrabbit for me.
Okay.
So whatever she did,
you did better.
I did better.
Okay.
You know?
Or tried to do better. Or tried to do better.
I tried to do right. Or tried to do better. So she passed her common entrance in Jamaica in the 6th grade. I said, nah, I'm gonna pass it my first time. So I did it in the 5th grade.
Wow.
She graduated from school. Well, she didn't want to go to high school here, but I had to graduate, you know, earlier than that. That was it. So we were very competitive, you know. So that was one of the even though we were no longer in the same school or pursuing the same thing, that still
was your driver, competition, your motivator. Okay.
Right.
Wow.
I wanted to do everything early. I wanted to be the youngest to do this. The first to do this. That was my motivation.
Okay.
So it fed into my ego about going to medical school. I wanted to become a medical doctor. But the funny thing is, I saw myself with doctor money, you know, the lab coat, the prestige, the stethoscope, you know, driving in Ferrari, living in the penthouse. But the truth is, I never saw myself serving or being of service. I never really saw myself being at the bedside. I never saw myself. I visioned myself being a teacher. I visioned myself teaching.
Right.
Because actually, I was doing that because I'm a very unique person because I had athletic abilities, but I was also considered a nerd. Right. So I was a teacher's hitman. So I would beat up kids if they don't do their work, you know? So like, if you give me the problems, then I'll take care of you. That was... Yeah. I mean? So I was like, you know, the teacher's pet. Right, so, but no one really, you know, because I was tall and, like I said, somewhat popular because I played sports. To sports, yeah, okay. Okay. So yeah, college, that's when I after high school here, that's when it was confirmed that I don't want to go to education. Honestly, it's one of my biggest regrets. I should not let that sway me. Right. But, I mean, it's your path. You end up doing it anyway. I had that same path. I went all the way to get my PhD. I was going to be a scientist, but I knew I wanted to be a professor from college. I was teaching labs. I was teaching speed reading my freshman year. I was teaching labs from my sophomore year all the way to senior year. I loved to teach. This is what I wanted to do. When I wrote my essay for grad school, I said I would be an anatomy and physiology professor.
But then when you get then you're like, wait a minute, I actually, I could do the science thing. I'm really good at it. But then life, huh?
And you enjoy it.
And I enjoyed it, but life stared me, even when I wanted to veer off the path. Life basically stares you. Okay, it just stares you. So I mean, I understand you had regrets that those things swayed you, but I mean, yeah, I think God is good in that He guides. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I am where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
Sometimes, it's like I should have been here sooner.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's like, well, was that necessary? Did I necessarily have a, yeah.
So what were your challenges in school? What were your challenges?
High school, college.
College.
Some of the challenges were as I told you, I was an athlete. I was a student athlete. I was becoming popular.
Okay.
I was president of this Jamaica Caribbean Students Association. I joined the fraternity.
Frat guy, that's right.
Alpha by Alpha, right?
Right, that's right.
I was doing too much. I was doing too much. My social life picked up, and I needed to be focused. And the thing is, when so there's a saying, a jack of all trade, but a master of none. Right. So part of the challenge was thinking I could do everything.
Right.
And that was something that even was a precursor when I was in high school, because they say you're young, you have time, the world is your oyster, but there needs to be a discipline. There needs to be a focus.
Right.
There needs to be a focus, because if you do not have that focus, you're spinning your wheels, you're wasting time. It's best you try something, do your best on it,
focus on it,
move on to something else.
Right.
But do not spread yourself thin and don't accomplish one thing. So that was part of the issue I was facing. So you were doing a whole lot, and you weren't focused as you should have on what you wanted to do. Yeah, that is a definitely a challenge, and I tell people all the time, guys, those of you who want to be successful in STEM, you have to turn your focus. But you're still a success story, though, right? I mean, you still made it. So you can see the flaws that you had and the stuff that you did. Usually, heavily with Black males, they target you guys with sports, and you feel that you have to do it because you have to support yourself in college, but you also were frat, and you were getting very popular and doing lots of things, and so focus, guys. Remember, you got to stay focused in college, and there's nothing wrong with doing extracurricular activities, but it has to be on the back burner. The standard is your what you want to do. Well, there were a certain unevenness, because my first 2 years, one of the reasons why I felt that I could do all of this is because the school I attended in Jamaica was somewhat like a brain farm. Okay. And so my foundation was really good.
Strong. Okay.
Right. And so high school here, it was a breeze. My first 2 years of college was actually a breeze.
Okay.
But then when I started hitting that third year,
and it's all core classes. Yeah.
And then track and fraternity, I could have handled it maybe, up to until my sophomore years.
You're right. Then, you had to make a decision.
Yeah. The piper start piping, so it was a challenge. Yeah. And my grades did get affected, my times on the track got affected, so yeah. So
let's talk about that third year. Just to let you know, guys, when you're in the third year of college, you go from doing a lot of general ed courses your first 2 years and spacing everything out. But the third year, if you're a biochemistry major, you're taking like majority chemistry classes and maybe some math. Like it's hardcore. All right.
Yes.
So so you transitioned to teaching. Tell me your story about before we get into challenges that you're facing now. You're a teacher now. How did you get to that place? How did you go from being a biochemistry major to start teaching?
Well, I graduated. After I graduated, I was working for an environmental company as a chemical analyst.
Okay.
And then from then, there was an opening at Durham, Department of Resource Management. This is in Miami-Dade. And I dealt with Title V regulations. So regulation water.
Okay.
So I inspected, so basically I was an environmental specialist.
Yeah.
So I inspected, because as you know, South Florida is atop of the Biscayne Aquifer. So
right.
I inspected facilities that maybe possibly dump chemicals that may contaminate our water.
Our water resources are very important. Right. Yeah.
So I would inspect dry cleaners because perchlorine, chlorine, ethylene. So I inspect them for their intake and how when they have a certain amount coming in. There is supposed to be a certain amount in waste, and if that is not recorded, where did it go? Did
right.
They dump it in the sewer?
Okay.
And I would inspect refineries, cement factories, and when we're done with our itinerary, I'll do food inspections for restaurants, things like that. So yeah, so then I transitioned into that. So then I said, you know what, I want to go to. I didn't feel I was being challenged enough.
Okay.
I said, I want to go to medical school. So then there was a political thing going on with South Florida. If you remember, the Elian Gonzalez.
Right, Cuba. That's right.
Yeah. So there were where I worked. It was very diverse, and one group in particular tend to be very practice a lot of nepotism. So I saw an opportunity for me to where, okay, let me just ease on out in this direction,
right,
another direction. So there was an opening for a chemistry teacher at one of our schools here in South Florida, and it was just only a means to an end. But I thought I had to close that door.
Okay, so you left your job that you were working as an environmental specialist because of your degree in biochemistry, but you weren't challenged enough, and you felt like you had hit the ceiling because of diversity issues.
Right.
Yeah, and so then you said you saw an opening for a high school teacher for chemistry, and you was like, I'm gonna do this until I get into medical school.
Yeah, because the plan was for me to teach the courses. And while teaching the courses, I'm reviewing. Preparing for the MCAT and okay. Right. And then after that, I'll get out early enough to take the MCAT prep courses. Right, because you were, school time. Okay. And so it was a win-win. And then I was getting an income, a decent income, right, in which I could sustain my lifestyle. Right. And then then I don't know if you ever watch a movie. It's one of my favorite movie. It's called To Serve with Love. To Serve with Love. You told me about that movie. I finally watched it. You were like looking at me, and I never forget it. You were looking at me in disgust that I hadn't seen To Serve with Love. So yeah, I saw it like last year or something. Yeah. Okay. To Serve with Love. So it's sort of like that happened. Right. Man, these kids, listen, not much had changed since I was in high school, and I was like, man, I can't. And some of the worst kids that entered my class, they became very close by the time they were in. So I learned a lot about myself. Okay. I learned a lot about. I became more of a people person, and that's the thing, because as they say, money makes the world go round, but it's really people makes the world go round.
Yeah,
But I became more sociable and became more personable as opposed to focusing on the results. And I had to relearn that. You have to
relearn that. So what are your challenges now as a high school teacher? You transitioned to chemistry. I remember the story you told me. You were like, I'm not. These kids are doing crazy stuff with the in the lab. I'm not getting sued. So let me
tell that story.
Sure, do it.
From science to math.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of transitions.
Yeah.
So I was teaching a chemistry class, and we were going over the safety procedures. Which is typical. We go over the safety procedures, then you go over the instruments, the terminology, so on and so forth. So, I just sense that something was not right. So I turned around because I'm up front. The students are behind me. My back is turned. And so I sensed something's not right as I was instructing. And when I looked, I noticed that one of the students was missing. So I'm like, I saw her head, because we're in the labs, and there's the area where the stations, and there's the hood that covers up in order so that you don't create a mess. So I didn't fully see her, but I saw her head. And so I decided to go back there and see what she was doing.
Right.
And this girl was using the Bunsen burner to light the ends of her weed.
Flammable hair. Okay, hair is flammable, and she's using the Bunsen burner.
And I just saw my life flash in front of me. I was like, I'm gonna get sued. I just saw her. I just imagined her here going. So I said, nah, I can't do. I need a safer class, a safer subject. So
then you get your master's in curriculum instruction and mathematics, and you're teaching math. What are your challenges now as a math teacher? Like a teacher, period, but like because that is a classic example of a challenge as a teacher in the high school level. But as a math teacher, like, what do you think? What are your challenges?
Honestly, in the profession, one is bureaucracy. The burdening of our profession, teaching to a test, and basically not allowing depth of knowledge because you're on a fast pace.
Right.
Another issue is student motivation. And it depends on the school where you're at.
Right.
And it sometimes depends on the subject that you teach. But there are kids that are talented, and some of them do want it, but there's so much distractions out there, and they're easily distracted.
Yeah.
They're easily distracted. I have young ladies that, a guy comes in the room and they dummy down,
Yeah. Oh, you said they dummy down, you said?
Yeah. Because, they don't want to embarrass him. They don't want to make him look stupid. So I let them know, hey, listen, you're not going to mess up my class grade because of your love life.
Right. Right.
So,
yeah. Okay.
So that's a part of the issue. And some of these kids they need guidance, and they're not. Unfortunately, many parents do not place a high priority on education.
Yeah, I hear a lot of that complaints. It's either the system is not supportive of teachers, the students are easily distracted or may have low expectations for themselves, and then the parents, the standard of education, that the push, parents, guys, I'm talking to you guys, those of you who have children in K through 12 and even past K through 8, where you're in 9, 10, a lot of times they leave their kids be. No, you need to be on them. You need to, Did they do their homework? Nowadays they have, like, I tutor and I see kids, their teacher tells them this homework is due on this date. You could just get their computer, their Canvas, and just open up and you could see what's due, and you could see if they did it. Parents need to, like, really find out if their kids are actually doing the work. And if they just if they just do that, I think there would be a drastic change in the system.
I think with many parents, they're not changing with the times. And I've been teaching for a long time. And I have seen where a lot of kids skate on, and because they've been fed by their parents, they skate off. Oh, my mom is not good at math, or my dad wasn't good at math. So,
right.
So yeah, and they are fine, but not realizing the parents would be better, and sometimes the parents, why, you get a lot of complaints. Why is it so hard now? When I was in school, we didn't have all these tests. We didn't have all these, but the demands of the job, the demands of careers have changed.
Right.
It's no longer as simple as it used to be when you were in high school.
Right. And especially if you want to prepare your kids for STEM careers. If you want your kids to be able to take pre-calculus and college algebra and calculus and trig in college, they have to be prepared from high school. If they want to be nurses or doctors, they have to be prepared from high school.
Well, a lot of them want NFL, NBA, musicians. That seems to be what used to be more popular than now. I've seen a shift.
Okay.
Which is a good thing. I was seeing that, but back then that was the emphasis.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much on education.
Education.
Or get a government job. Get a government job,
and you'll be good.
You'll be good. Work at the post office, or so there wasn't really much ambition. But thank God things are
turning. Yeah. And it's up to us. I think the professionals that have, the teachers, the doctors, the engineers, this is why I'm having this program to push it, to say, no, you can do, there's a lot of things you can do, but if you want to be involved in STEM careers, you have to be prepared from early.
Yeah.
And truly before high school, but definitely take the hard classes in high school. So lastly, so what's okay, go ahead. Okay.
There's also a culture of there's a culture in high school where high school is the peak of one's life.
Oh, yes.
So it's where it's supposed to be fun and memories.
Yeah.
In high school, it's the kids dress up. Some overdressed.
Yeah.
Whole school.
Yeah.
It's not so much about work. Who's dating who's going out with who drives this car, who wears the shoes, who's going to prom, who's going to the football games, who's going to grad night. There's so much emphasis on the social aspect of high school, and that's the culture.
Yeah.
And the parents feed
into that, right? They put heavy amounts of money into prom night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But you can't buy them a laptop or a calculator.
or send them to math camp.
Math camp in the summer. Yes.
No, it's the culture.
Right.
Buys into or try to parallel what's going on in entertainment on TV. There's too much of that.
Yeah.
The cell phones.
Distractions. Lots of distractions.
So many,
Pierre, just let you know, Pierre is basically saying that's a great point what you're saying in terms of the social aspect of high school.
Yeah. I have had students that literally had porn addictions.
Mm.
You know, I mean, I'm thinking they're working because I rotate my room. I'm constantly
Moving around.
moving around. And when I look, they're watching porn on their phones.
Wow.
You know, they have so much to their advantage. At the same time, there's so much to take away their attention.
Yeah. And so I think I was doing a study on the brain of high schoolers. They're still developing. It is imperative that parents take the reins of their children. Don't let them loose. Even if they're 17 years old and 16 years old, we have to like guide our kids a little better. Restrict phone access.
Yes.
They're not adults. I'm going to treat my kid like an adult. No, I'm sorry. I mean, in certain levels, yes, but there has to be a loving restrictiveness. Like, you know, even God has a law, right? You know, so I mean, it's amazing. I like the fact that you said you walked the classroom. You seem like a very dedicated teacher, and I don't want to say it's lacking, but I just know that there are not a lot of teachers that walk around the classes. You know, they just sit in the front and let people do what they want to do. What's your favorite part of your career? I'm going to ask this last question. There's some questions on here from Facebook Live, but you seem that you really love what you do. So what's the favorite part of your career?
My favorite part is growth.
Okay.
I love seeing kids that come in and we, over time, you know, we bang it out.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is, the relationship that we develop, they're doing it. Most importantly, they should do it because of themselves.
Themselves, right.
But if they like you, you know, they will do it just because of you.
Mr. Smart. They want to do it for themselves and Mr. Smart.
Right. But a lot of them, they don't even want it for themselves. To be honest with you.
That's true.
A lot of them is sort of like, you know, but because, you know, they have a connection with you. So you're like their parent. They don't see it. They don't see what's down the road.
Right.
I have a better view of how life would be a lot easier if they get this accomplished.
Right.
And they will do it. They will do the extra, you know, because, you know, they want to be in your good graces. They want to, and honestly, some of them don't want to succeed. If I said, oh, don't worry about it, then they will be like, but I have to be like, no,
hey.
No. Let's push it. Let's go.
Right.
And then eventually, they grow into that. You know, eventually they'll be like, oh, okay. Then they want it for themselves. But for me, so they have a saying, you know, fake it till you make it. So I have to fake it for them. I'm the motivation for them to fake it because they generally don't want it.
Right.
For themselves. But so, you know, I have to be that extrinsic.
Yeah.
Until they can grow into the intrinsic and say, well, yes, this
is good for me. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Cool. I have a question for you. It said, this is from Spendy or Pierre. He said, if your kid is advanced in math, is it overkill to seek math or science camps over the summer? He's debating between allowing rest or pushing forward. I don't know what age your kid is, Pierre, but from the age of middle school, I don't believe in summers off. That's just my opinion. Ask Leo is the man when it comes to math camps.
My opinion on that is you have to know your child.
Okay.
But don't limit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no glass ceiling.
Right. There's no overkill.
There's no overkill.
Yeah, there's no overkill.
You know, till the wheels fall off. Let's push it. But again, it has to be healthy.
It has to be healthy.
It must be healthy.
Yeah.
There needs to be temperance.
And
I'm not one to hold a child back, right, or anybody back. If this is what they can do, let us see how far you can go.
Yeah.
you know, but at the same time, I'm not one to push them over the edge, you know, to be one of those tiger moms or
Right.
LeVar Ball dads, you know. So, you know, I think there needs to be a healthy balance. It must be healthy. But
Yeah.
again, I don't believe in capping. Kids if that kid is motivated and want to go, let them soar.
Yeah.
Let them soar. And if they're not motivated enough, push them.
Right.
But there needs to be balance.
Yep. Well, I got a lot of likes and quite a bit of people join. Not much questions, other than those couple of questions and statements, people saying hello. But I just really appreciate you, Leo, for joining Phenomenal STEMist. We definitely need more African American male teachers in the classroom. So I honor you as a Black male teacher in the classroom. Hopefully that this will inspire some people who are watching. I see a couple of people that are actually math teachers or professionals in the education system. I see you, Drew. What's going on? Yeah, go ahead.
If I can basically speak on why one may not see enough male.
Yes. Okay. Go ahead.
From the African diaspora in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a few examples. I'll give you one really. There you will encounter discipline problems,
mm-hmm.
and usually that really stems from home training.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have people from different backgrounds. There was an example where one student, he wanted to fight me.
Mm.
He literally wanted to fight me. The thing is, he's not dumb.
Leo is are you over 6 feet? How tall are you?
Yes. Yeah, I'm 6'3".
6'3", so, just to let you know.
Yeah, he was a big kid too.
Okay.
But he was running his mouth. So my thing is, I literally put some tape on the ground, and I because it's not the first time that kids, and you never know. Mm-hmm. So in my mind, I said, if this kid comes across that tape, I'm gonna get up, because that's the point of no return. Because he's coming from way across the room. But he never, because I guess he saw me looking at the tape, but he never crossed it. Mm-hmm. But what happened was, I had some male students, some other students in the class, and they were getting upset. So they were like, "Mr. Smart, give me the word. I'll fight him." I was like, "No." So I called security. Security took their time to come, but between the time that they arrived and the incident occurring, there was so much damage done. Right. And this broke my heart, because when I see mainly the boys, they said I could never be a teacher. They watch it just like you. You saw it and like, yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's the cycle. They said I could be disrespected like that, and you're a grown man, and you can't do anything, and security, and they're gonna come back. You know what I mean? So, because children require discipline. They want to see consequences to behavior. Yeah. So it is very discouraging. But it takes love. It takes love of people, and because my dad, I was home for Christmas, Philadelphia. My dad told me he's still a teacher now. He's been teaching for a long time, and he teaches kids with autism, many of which are Black males. And that one of the kids hauled off and punched my father in the face, knocked the glasses off. I was like, he didn't even tell me what had happened. He was telling somebody else the story, and I almost like, what? And I'm like, Dad, you need to retire. Like, but he had so much patience, and so many people. I know kids who are in their 30s still talk about Mr. Byfield. And so, you just have to balance the anger that you feel and the disrespect that you feel. And if God placed, the love in your heart for this profession and for the people in this profession, it will overpower. Yeah. like I hinted before, although sheltered, my background is a bit rough. So sometimes God places us in these environments where we can smooth each other out. And so yeah, I'm not my father. Let's say that.
You didn't come out with the 2 machetes. No. About to
but yeah, teaching is definitely my calling.
Yeah.
It's a passion I have. Now, I do desire to do a PhD.
Okay.
But I do not want to. I am no longer interested in being the first or the best at just because of talking points. Right now, I'm trying to learn the saxophone.
Okay.
So there are different ways we can learn and educate ourselves besides within walls.
Right.
And so that's my desire. My desire. I mean, if I do want to pursue a PhD, but it's not going to be because
any competition.
Yeah, or because I'm doing it before 30, or because I'm
right.
money, or it's going to be something that I'm passionate about. If I'm not passionate about it, then I'm getting on that road. I mean, I wasn't particularly passionate about medical school. And God redirected me. So I'm somewhat. If I'm not passionate about it, I'm
not gonna do it.
I need to find that passion. So yeah.
That is awesome. Thank you so much, Leo, Mr. Leo Smart. Thank you guys so much for joining. I am the phenomenal STEMist. So is this guy right here. He says 12. All right.